everyone, and welcome to the Climate of Sport podcast with me, Claire Poole. I am absolutely delighted this week that we have a really special guest on the pod, Ellie Simmonds. Ellie is a British Paralympic swimmer. She became a national icon after winning 2 gold Paralympic medals in 2008 in Beijing. She then took 4 medals at London in 2012 and 2 more medals in Rio in 2016. After this huge career as a Paralympic champion, a world champion and a European champion, she is now using her platform as an ambassador for physical education and ocean conservation, which is what we're super interested in. She's also a BAFTA-winning documentarian, a respected broadcaster and a charity ambassador. So Ellie, welcome to the podcast. So first of all, just like, how is life treating you at the minute? How's everything? How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. So lovely to chat to you. So nice to get connected and now getting the chance to talk to you and to hear everything that what you've done and your podcasts and listen to that as well and educate myself, because I'm very much passionate about how we can look after the world, and especially with my love of water, having been a swimmer for so many years and now retired, and then spreading that love and hopefully education on what we can do more to protect the oceans, the waterways, all of that. So yeah, to the point, I'm actually good. Really, really good.
We're going to get into loads of really interesting chats. Well, first of all, what's one thing that people get wrong about Ellie Simmonds, or that they don't know about?
I think people probably think I'm happy all the time. And if I chat to people on the streets and stuff, they're like, "You're so lovely," and I'm like, "You haven't seen me on a bad day yet." and I think the thing is, like, I do have my highs and lows, like everyone else, and I do have my ups and downs, and I think that's the thing that people probably don't think about me. They think that I'm always happy, but also another thing, that I'm so passionate about ocean conservation, and yet now hopefully people listening realise that I've been such a swimmer for so many years, that I've been connected in a way to water for years and years, that now my passion is that I want to protect these oceans. And I've been so lucky. I'm so fortunate that I've been able to travel the world, go on adventures and use my platform to talk about it. But there's so many people that, yes, they don't get a chance to go underwater. Again, there's alarming calls because of people don't know how to swim. We've seen, haven't we, the rise in the media at the moment with more drownings. And I think we forget, don't we, that swimming is not just a great sport. I can vouch for it every single day, but it's also a life skill as well. And the oceans can be quite dangerous places. You know, like, it's wonderful to go in the sea, but we need to be safe. It's water, and water is great. It's livelihood, it's everything, but it's also can be unsafe, and you need to make sure that you are safe when you're swimming in the sea, swimming in lakes, swimming in oceans. But also the thing with that, with people not knowing how to swim, and so much ocean out there and so much sea out there is untouched. Sometimes when we don't see things, we don't realise what is out there, and we don't have a link that we need to protect coral reefs, we need to protect sea creatures, all that type of stuff. I think when you see, like, flooding, you see fires, but stuff like coral bleaching and all of that, sometimes humans, we can't see it because we don't go out there and adventure. So it's the fact that hopefully if I can use my message and what I've seen to share with the world, that there's so much out there that needs to still be protected and not be forgotten.
Such an important point. And I'll just come back to that about the drowning. So we obviously have global listeners on the Climate of Sport, but the UK in the end of May had unseasonably high temperatures. Obviously we had a heat wave in Europe, and I think it got up to 34 degrees, didn't it, in the UK? And in that sort of 4 or 5 day period, I think there was 11 or 12 drownings of young people. And that is sort of another angle of the climate crisis that we don't think about, because when we have this extreme weather, people do gravitate towards water, don't they? It might not be the sea, it might just be a body of water, it might be lakes, it might be rivers, and we do think, oh, we'll go and cool off. And then, as you said, people who don't have those skills, or even people who are really strong swimmers but get caught in a current or in a riptide, it's kind of a roundabout another impact of the climate crisis, isn't it? And we don't always think about in terms of the climate crisis, ocean, and then people's safety as well.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that should be a wake-up call as well. And like you said, Claire, they're all linked in ways, aren't they? And I think sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
But actually, if you really analyse it and really think about it, it is all to do with that. Because like you said, when it's hot, you go into water to cool down, and then the sea can be like, even me, I'm a confident swimmer, but there's been many times when I've gone out on a surfboard and I've been like, I had to, a bit of a wake up call, you know, and I'm quite good with water, you know, I'm quite confident, but it is like, it can be.
You're a multi-gold medalist, award-winning, you know, international sensation swimmer, and yet you can still get caught out.
Yeah, very much so. I think we all can, can't we?
Yeah. Respecting the water, I guess.
Yeah, definitely respect Mother Nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into it, I obviously want to spend most of the time talking about ocean conservation and your work around that, and sort of talking about some of that, but also what is an achievement you're really proud of that maybe has nothing to do with your achievements in the water, or have you got an achievement that you want to highlight where you're like, it isn't actually all of the gold medals I've won over the years?
It's a silly one, actually.
Oh, go on.
Do you know what? I've always been so proud that back in 2012, I passed my driving test with no faults and no minors. And it's something that I'm always been so proud of. I don't really talk about it, but it was really nice, because before that, my mom had to sacrifice a lot in my swimming career to take me everywhere, and swimming isn't the most best with timings, you know. It's early in the morning, it's in the water at 6 till 8, and then going from there to school, and then school to train. And I'm sure if there's any mums of swimmers out listening, it's not the best hours, is it? But, so when I passed my driving test, my mum was delighted, so that's definitely up there. I think another thing is, such as I've got my freediving qualification, I've got my scuba qualification. Very, very proud of my BAFTA as well. BAFTA is a British Academy Film and TV Award, so it's a big award in the TV industry over here, film and TV industry, where I was able to do a documentary. One of my sides is that I was in foster, and I was also adopted. And with the documentary that we did highlighted my life and me finding my birth mum, but also delving into the fact that so many children with a disability are stuck in the care system, and they are seen as harder to place. And we talk about the language of different disabilities, and what my birth mum got when she found out 31 years ago I was diagnosed with dwarfism was sad, really. The pamphlet that she got was saying that individuals with dwarfism were perceived to go into the circus, we weren't intellectually there, we probably wouldn't get a job, all that type of stuff. And that was 31 years ago, so we wanted to highlight that, but seeing, has there been change? Is there better thinking about different disabilities? Is there better inclusion? All that type of stuff. So with that documentary, I was very, very proud to do, because again, I highlighted the fostering and also adoption and the care system, and what more could be done, but also the amazing families out there that do so much to look after and bring children in, and that's all children want, is love, care, and I've been so fortunate that I've got a great family who adopted me, and they are my parents, and I love them so, so much. So it was a huge honour, and to get a BAFTA for that documentary and for representing the adoption community was, again, a huge, huge highlight since retiring from the sport.
It's amazing, and like, you can still watch that documentary. It's incredible, and we encourage people to watch it, because it's so good. And I think you're an incredible example of the fact that there's so many different facets to us all as human beings, and your achievements and your athleticism and your, you know, that role is just one, isn't it, of all of these different facets of you?
Yeah, very much. And I think as athletes or individuals in the TV world, or when you've got an opportunity and a platform, I think you need to grasp it. And I think, like myself, I've been so lucky that I've been able to talk about things that are passionate with me. And I think there's so many athletes, and especially the likes of Team GB athletes, who have spoken with things like that are close to their hearts, such as like the sewage pollutions, or changing the clothes so it's more inclusive for girls and women in sport, in the likes of hockey. And I think it's amazing when athletes you see that aren't afraid to talk, aren't afraid to help, and help the next generation and talk about things that are passionate, because we are really lucky that sport gives us a platform. And sport, you've got the Olympics, you've got the World Cup, there's so many people in the world that watch it.
Yeah.
And it's really important that when they do watch it, they enjoy it, yes,
Yeah.
but also are educated as well, because there's so many kids out there that get inspired by watching these professional athletes. They're like some of you said, Claire, LeBron James, that if they can use their voice and their talk, then they can help create change and educate so many individuals in such a natural way.
Yeah. So I was chatting to Ugo Monye recently, who's an former England rugby star. And I said to him, you know, if you had to choose between like your rugby career and what you're doing now, what are you choosing? Yeah. And he was like, so difficult. But he was like, as proud as I am of that career and like what I achieved in rugby, I think I love the fact that like that career gave me this platform to do this other stuff.
Oh, very much so. And I think we've got to grasp it.
Yeah.
And I think as an athlete and a retired athlete, it's an opportunity, I feel, to educate and to use that platform, because like you said, Claire, like there's so many things I'm passionate about. And I think also as well, I feel naturally when you're an athlete, in a way you're selfish.
Yeah.
It's to be honest, yeah, you are selfish. You've got to think about your sport. You've got to think about what you do when you wake up.
Yeah.
To when you sleep, to when you're thinking about when you are sleeping, you're resting, all that type of stuff, where I think now it's that opportunity to give back to not just the people who have helped you, but give back to the community, to society, and to be kind, but also to do so many things that you are passionate about, and just to be around that as well, and be around like-minded people.
Yeah. And I have to ask you, because it's just so fun. We're currently watching you on Gogglebox with Richie Anderson. You have to give us some behind the scenes tea of what's been going on there.
Yeah, so I do Celebrity Gogglebox with my friend Richie Anderson, who's a man of many talents. He's on BBC Radio 2, plus presents Escape to the Country. And I met him doing Strictly Come Dancing, which is a dancing show here in the UK, back in 2022. And we just connected straight away. Do you know when you meet someone and you just know that they're going to be your friends for life?
Totally.
Like, his energy is just infectious. He's the loveliest man ever.
Yeah.
And when we're with each other, we just can't stop laughing and can't stop chatting. And to be able to do a show like Celebrity Gogglebox with your best friend, where you sit on the sofa for 5 hours watching TV and get a variety of different snacks. We always try and say to each other, let's eat healthy this week. Let's eat healthy. But then, when there's popcorn and chocolate that you can choose from, we go for it. But it's great. I think I love, like, again, watching variety of different TV shows. And last week we watched Scream. Oh my gosh. I realised,
had you not seen it? Or have you not seen it for a long time?
No, I don't watch horror films. And it was horrible.
The original Scream?
It was like Scream 8. So I think, just something that people don't know is just, it's not our house.
No.
Sorry to disappoint people. People always ask that.
Yeah.
It's in a house near me, but not our house. But I just love it. We just have a good laugh. You know, what we're like on the sofa, what you see on TV is what we're like in normal life.
You can tell. You can tell the vibe is just amazing. And I love that, for those who aren't aware, the behind the scenes, like, you're not actually in the living room of your own house. I love it. That's tea. That's tea for people. I know. I think
some people are in their houses, though.
Yeah.
Me and Richie aren't.
Yeah, but that's inside track. I love that. I love that. So let's dig into some of the work that you've been doing. So obviously you are so synonymous with water as a swimmer, like all of your achievements. When do you think the flip switched, or was it always there and you just had more time and you retired to sort of move from achievements in the water to sort of thinking about protecting the water and that conservation angle? Was there a moment, or was it just a slow growing vibe?
A moment.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, actually, back in 2016, before 2016, I got the incredible opportunity to do a documentary with ITV about myself going to go swim with dolphins. And before that, I think there was that fear of the unknown, and I think a lot of people have that fear with the ocean, with the sea, with water, is that fear of what's out there. I think the media definitely portrays the seas and the oceans in a scary way in the past, such as Jaws, and in the past with all the other things that there's fear of the sea.
Yeah.
And I think I had that fear, even though, yes, I swim for every day in the past, there was that unknown and scariness. So back in 2016, I got to do the documentary, and with that, I got to meet a wonderful lady called Hanley Prinsloo, who is still, to this day, a very great friend of mine. I was able to, connect with her, and as soon as I met her, again, she was an individual that I just felt like I needed to be around, and she hugely educated me. She just enlightened my eyes to the ocean and the love of those creatures and the dolphins and the coral and all the little things. And I felt, wow, like there was that switch moment where I thought, wow, this is incredible. Like I was mesmerized. I remember one time we went under the water and we could hear humpbacks calling.
Wow.
And I think it was just a moment where I wish I could bottle up and capture and just play it to everyone, because it just was just euphoric, incredible moment. And then I think that ignited a fire, and I was like, wow, spending a week with Hanley, seeing the ocean, seeing the waterways, seeing like the incredible creatures, I was like, this can't be the last moment. I want to do more and more. So then I went to my third Paralympics in Rio in 2016, and after those games, I had a bit of a gap year. I went travelling, and it was incredible. Opened my eyes, just travelled the world and just saw some incredible things. But with that, I went to South Africa, where Hanley Prinsloo is based. She's a African record freediver. She's incredible, but she also has a foundation, Ocean Conservation Foundation, called I Am Water. So I went to Cape Town, helped with her charity for a month. Amazing. And with that, when you're surrounded by people who are like that, individuals who are creating change, it just, you feel like you're getting educated. And I just was spreading the love of oceans and waters and helping out in her shop. And with what she does with her charity I Am Water, she goes around to the schools in South Africa and educates on the what's out there for them, like the seas and what's in the oceans, and hopefully through the power of education with children, that they can have a ripple effect and educate their parents and all that. And then again, if they know what's out there, they can educate their kids and so on. It's like a ripple effect. So absolutely, through that, you go to the schools, you educate them, but then also you take them out to snorkel in the Cape Town reefs and stuff. So I was just doing that, and then again my hook kept going on. So I went to Madagascar with Hanley, I've been to Mexico with Hanley, and then got my freediving qualification. And then from there on I just wanted to be around water, and I've been really lucky to travel and to see so many seas like the Great Barrier Reef. And with that, I've been able to do lots of other stuff with oceans and waters, and got to meet so many conservationists, and Professor Dave, who's the head of looking after coral reefs, based in Wales, but also works for Sheba Hope Reef, which is in Indonesia, in Bontesua. It's, again, protecting the reefs out here in the world. And it started back in 2019 with Hope Reef in Indonesia, and with Reef Stars, again, helps coral grow and plants coral, so then new reefs can carry on. And they've got, not just in Indonesia, they've got 41 places all across the world. So again, I'm passionate about doing that. It's just, again, I think that one moment of meeting Hanley is just
spiraled.
But
in the best possible way.
Oh, very much so. And I just,
This, obviously, the protecting the oceans, rivers, waterways, you're so passionate about. And I think for the ocean and the water health, I think athletes are a real sort of canary in the coal mine, if you like, for sharing more about this. Because I know from like other colleagues and friends, Paralympic sailor Alexandra Rickham, who's amazing, Olympic sailor Hannah Mills, like a lot of them cite the plastic pollution in Rio, especially, of being in the water, as like a moment. I think Hannah Mills started the big plastic pledge after that. And this, is there something that you wish maybe athletes who haven't got that direct impact with the sort of landscape around oceans, maybe they're athletes on land or in venues or something, is there something you wish that they could, hear and understand in terms of making the connections?
Yeah, I think we've all got a part to play, and especially with sport. Sport is so powerful. There's so many individuals that watch it, not just at telly, but in venues, all of that type of stuff. And I think sometimes as athletes, we forget the role that we have to play. And it's like, I know what we said at the start, it's like a circle effect, isn't it? I think if we walk to venues, if we keep our bodies healthy, then again you think about the right food that you have and organic, and then it's like that's the whole circle effect. And I think sport, if we all do sport in such different ways, and I think also again it's finding what we're passionate about. I found my passion, which is looking after the water, but as a footballer or on land sport, maybe water doesn't connect with them, but something else can connect with them, such as think about less plastic, thinking about recycling, reducing, reusing. It's just, I think it's about finding what your passionate is, but doing something little. And I think if we can all make a small part in that whole cog, then we can make such a big change.
Yeah, I love that. And that leads me into, I was going to ask you about anyway, and you've just reminded me, you recently did a beach clean, West Kirby Beach, shout out West Kirby, with, was it
a Surfers Against Sewage?
Surfers Against Sewage and the national governing body as well, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was.
To Team England. So that, again, like talking about small actions, like some detractors say like things, you know, small things like beach cleans or tree planting, like we need to be thinking bigger, we need to think, you know, systemic change and stuff, which of course we do. But what do you have a view on like the value of that in terms of local action that people can get involved with, even if it does feel small, in terms of getting people to think about this and get them involved?
I think sometimes, like you said, Claire, we think about big things, don't we? But actually the small stuff can make such more of an impact. And I think bringing the community involved, again, that educates those, such as, like I know in the past I went to a Warsaw Canal clean-up, like the beach clean-up in West Kirby. It's not just about looking after the environment, but also it's being outside, being outdoors. And again, that has a trickle effect on your mental health, feeling good outside and looking after the UK as well. Something's on your doorstep. I think it's about, that whole system, but I think just not forgetting the little things, you know, even the such as like sunscreen safe for the reef. I think we think about getting sun cream, don't we, in the shops, and actually we don't think about the oils and the stuff that damage can do just in our waterways or even down the sink and stuff. Like it can affect, like again, the sinks, water goes into the rivers and the lakes, and it's just that, again, that can have impact on all the animals that we've got here in the UK. It's just like that simple thing that we make a change. And the amount of volunteers as well, I think they sometimes get forgotten about and forgotten to get thanked. But so many individuals who on a day-to-day basis go and do a clean-up or go to educate individuals on reusing plastic, all that type of stuff. Like those people do get forgotten about, and they are the ones that actually make such a big impact in the community, and we can't thank them enough.
Absolutely. And then thinking at that more local and national level, you know, national governing bodies, NGBs, how do you feel that, you know, their response, what do you think about their responsibility to sort of lead the change in terms of sustainability or conservation? Do you think they've got a duty to do that?
I think they should take a role and be aware of what they are doing. Again, they've got power, haven't they? National governing bodies, individuals in sport, people in sport. When you've got power, you can create change. And I think if you lead how you want your athletes to lead or to do, then I think you should be aware. And I think we all should be aware in some ways. I think every individual has a responsibility, and we need to take ownership of that responsibility.
I love that. There's this saying that, like, if you've got the ability to do something, you've got the responsibility to do it. Then if everyone does a little, no one has to do a lot, do they?
Exactly. I love that.
So you spoke about being selfish before, and that's not a pejorative term. Like when athletes reach the highest levels of their career, when the difference between winning a gold or a silver is 0.0001 second, like those, you know, it is about the marginal gains, isn't it? And you have to really dig in on that. So We do see more athletes, taking action and raising awareness in their retirement, which is fantastic. But some athletes, even in their retirement, worry about like being seen as activists or like engaging on issues that maybe some people find polarizing, or, taking a stand on something gets them labeled in a certain way. What's your advice to athletes who are like thinking, I do care, I would like to do more, but I'm a little bit worried?
I think, yes, it's a right to be worried. I think in this society at the moment, we're very high sensitive on a lot of things. But I think when you're passionate about something, I think you've got to use that passion and use that opportunity. I think you've got to grasp it and not be afraid, because again, like being an athlete or trying something new, you don't know until you try. And I think sometimes athletes, we forget the power that we have. And I think we need to grasp that opportunity, grasp that power, and not be afraid to speak our voices and to speak about some things that we're passionate about. And you never know the amount of change that you're going to have.
Absolutely that. And what do you think when you do speak out, when you raise awareness yourself, what do you find resonates the most? If you post something on social, or if you're interviewed or something and you get feedback, whether like it's directly on socials or through an agent or whatever, is there something that you think, when I talk about this, I feel like it does resonate quite positively? Is there, have you got thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like, again, I think as a human naturally, when you get feedback, I think, and especially when it's positive, you feel good, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
You feel like you make an impact, and it helps you think about yourself, and it helps you think about like, yes, I'm doing actually a good job. And I think even if it's negative feedback, like everyone's going to have different thoughts and feelings, and that's natural.
Yeah.
I think if we all thought the same, it would be such a boring world. It's really important that we have such different ideas, because again, you educate yourself on that, and also you learn. So I think if we were all thinking the same, and when we were going around these circles or hearing on panels, we've all got something different to educate on. And I think that's the power of change, is making sure we listen to every single point of view. And yes, it might be different, but actually it might in the long term have a different impact. So I think it's important that we come together as a collective, and all voice our thoughts and feelings.
You're never going to please all the people all the time,
No,
are you? That's just not possible. As long as you think you're doing the right thing and you feel confident about it and you're passionate about it, do what you want, because there's always going to be someone who's upset about something.
Oh, very much so. And I think, we've just got to take that, haven't we? And just understand that, again, they've got their thoughts and feelings and their views, and not to take it to heart.
No.
And again, if you're passionate about something, use that and spread that.
Yeah, absolutely. For fans or for people who are maybe coming to this for the first time, do you talk about like small behaviours that fans or people who follow you or people listen to you, like that they can take in their own lives to drive change?
Reach out to your local community. There's so many incredible charities out there. I see Surfers Against Sewage. They have so many, like you can register and get a little pack to do your own little beach cleanup. And it's, again, finding your passion, but just looking out there for your local community and doing your little bit, thinking about like reusable cups, not using straws, using like metal straws or bamboo straws, just thinking about your daily usage of certain stuff, and what you shop at and what you get, and reduce your plastic intake. I think it's all those little things, isn't it? And I think just being not afraid to reach out and ask questions. Like I try and do my bit and try and talk about my passions and the corals and the oceans, but I'm still learning every single day, and I'm trying to educate myself as much as possible. And there's still so much more stuff I could be saying, but I'm not, because I need to learn myself. And I think I'm really enjoying like going and hearing your panel, or going and like meeting individuals yesterday to listen to them about the ocean. And again, it's just using that opportunity that you get with sport, or the opportunities such as London Action Climate Week coming up, or to just educate yourself. And then hopefully with that education, then you can spread the word.
Absolutely.
But I think for me, it's just like what I want to do more, and I hope that people listening is just to not be afraid to reach out and ask questions, because every day we're learning.
I love that. So the last question before we get to our quick fire round, which is always fun. If you were queen for the day, you are a queen anyway, but queen for a day in terms of ocean conservation, what is the big thing you would change right now?
Think about the plastic intake, thinking about recycling. There's sometimes when I go to beaches all across the world and you think there's not much plastic, but then actually when you dig deep and you go and have a look, there is lots of plastic. And I think cleaning up after yourself. There's so many times, I think we saw it in the Arsenal parade recently. Yes, it was incredible to bring everyone together and celebrate that achievement, but then the streets of London afterwards were full of like lots of plastic and pollution. So I think just thinking about, like, you wouldn't treat your home like that, so why would you treat outdoors like that? Yeah, I just think that plastic intake and looking after our wildlife here in the UK, I think I saw on socials, we get more and more sharks and more like incredible animals around our seas and our oceans, and I think just to look after them, you know, and we've got some incredible creatures here in the UK, and it's really important that we protect our home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is a great place to finish the main part of the podcast, but we're going to get onto a quick fire round. I will accept one answer with, you can give caveats if you want. Sometimes they're tricky. Swimming pool or ocean?
Ocean.
Ocean, just straight away.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Paralympic final or BAFTA-winning television?
Paralympic final.
Yeah. We know where your heart is. We know where your heart is, even though you're very proud.
Oh, yeah, I'm so proud.
So we probably know. Well, maybe this is a quite trickier one. Gold medal or healthy coral reefs forever?
Oh, healthy coral reefs forever.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes you a really good person. You're like, the gold medal. Documentaries that you've done or celebrity gogglebox?
Oh gosh, that's so tough. That is really tough. Because I love Celebrity Gogglebox with Richie, but I think I do love my documentaries because I feel like with those I'm going on a journey of education as well.
Yeah.
And I've learnt so much and got to meet so many incredible people on that. And I feel with those documentaries, they educate so many people, so I'm very proud of them.
Amazing. So maybe you and Richie need to do a documentary together, and then it's the best of both worlds.
A little travel adventure.
Yeah. We'd watch that. Optimist or realist?
Ooh, probably optimistic.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
Me too. Marginal gains or big, bold action?
Marginal gains, because I think those small gains, those small changes, actually in the long term make big impacts.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we think about big,
Yeah.
but actually it's the small changes that can make a lasting impact.
Told like a true athlete. Small gains every day get you to the big prize at the end, don't they? That is the mindset. That's the athlete mindset. Are you more about progress or perfection?
In the past, I was definitely about perfection, but I think now it's progress.
Okay, nice, good answer. And this is a big one. Would you prefer to be remembered as a great athlete or a great advocate for ocean conservation?
Oh, that's so tough. Can I choose both?
Yeah. I give everyone one of those. Everyone's like, come on.
Yeah, probably both, because I'm so proud of being a Paralympian and being in the disabled community and doing what I've done for my country at the Paralympics, but then also being able to be part of such a collective, a group that's making such big impacts on corals and ocean protection, that I would love to be part of that as well.
I love it. We'll let you have it.
Oh.
We'll let you have it. Well, Ellie Simmonds, thank you so much for joining us on the Climate of Sport podcast. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Kat. I've loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Hi everyone, I'm Claire Poole from Sport Positive. It is a pleasure to see you. Are you following me on Instagram and LinkedIn? You should be. Are you following Sport Positive on Instagram and LinkedIn? You should be. Are you listening to our weekly podcast, The Climate of Sport? You should be. Are you getting our weekly intelligence brief? You should be. There's so much that we are doing at the intersection of sport and the environment, and you can get involved in so many different ways. So head to the link in the bio now to follow, to engage, and to get involved. We can't wait to hear from you.